Chapter 57 Whispers. It had been weeks since Sebastian had first overheard that the sepulchre from Earth Number 1 might have found a replacement for Solarium, and now, as Dr. Robert left the main laboratory, the wheels were already spinning in Barnaby's head. The rumors were confirmed they had found a meteorite, and far from being a replacement for Solarium, it had turned out to actually be Solarium. The implications were massive. There was a better than evens chance that the same cosmic event had also occurred in their dimension, and waiting in Antarctica, or Washington, D.C., was a meteorite full of Solarium. He desperately needed to speak to Sebastian and Dr. Robert Number 2, and they would need to get back to Earth Number 2 as soon as possible. While Barnaby Number 2 was starting to put the pieces together, Barnaby Number 1 was finding out quite how much information the infidels had acquired when they had broken into Sepulchre HQ. "My God, they pretty much know everything then?" he asked in a faceless voice on the phone. "Yes, sir, they worked inhumanely quickly and had accessed over 90% of our systems before they left." Knowing there was little more to be done now, Barnaby hung up and returned to appraise Sebastian Number 1. "Thank you, that will be all. Please prioritize the extra security measure we discussed." As Barnaby Number 1 walked into the main laboratory to speak to Sebastian, he saw himself, or rather his doppelganger, standing staring off into space. His double wore the blank, unfocused gaze of a soldier that had become emotionally detached from the horrors around him, often referred to as the 1,000-yard stare. "Everything okay, Barnaby?" Barnaby Number 1 had recognized the vague look on his doppelganger face. The spoken words shocked Barnaby back from his daydreams. When his eyes focused, they saw himself staring back. Yes, Barnaby, I'm fine, thank you." "Good, you looked preoccupied. I know that look myself," smiled Barnaby. "Yes, I guess you do," agreed Barnaby Number 2. "I'm just processing a lot of information." "As long as you're okay," said Barnaby, tapping himself on the shoulder, and walked off to find Sebastian Number 1. As both Barnabys went in search of their Sebastians, it was Barnaby Number 1 that found someone first, but it wasn't Sebastian. Dr. Robert, how are you?" "I'm still very good, thank you, Barnaby," replied Dr. Robert. Puzzled by the response, Barnaby dug a little deeper. "I'm sorry, Doctor, am I missing something?" "I don't think so. Nothing has changed since I last spoke to you 10 minutes ago," replied Dr. Robert. Barnaby was no longer puzzled, he was genuinely concerned. "We didn't speak 10 minutes ago, Doctor." "Yes, we did. I told you about the meteorite and the testing results." Starting to see why his doppelganger had been wearing the 1,000-yard stare, Barnaby replied, "Doctor, that wasn't me you told." Turning and heading back to the main laboratory, Barnaby walked into three faces, all looking directly at him. Sepulchre Earth Number 2 were stood blocking his path. It was his doppelganger who spoke first. "Barnaby, we need to talk.